Hare Krishna, everyone. Welcome to this week's edition of the Hare Krishna Project podcast. This is episode number 172. Yes, we've made it to our 172nd. I almost didn't say it then. Our 172nd episode without being struck off air. And we're still broadcasting after 4 years. A big thank you to our ever growing global audience who continue to tune in, check in every week. Do not forget, if you're watching this on YouTube, and if you haven't already, please hit the subscribe button so you can be kept updated about future podcasts and video productions from the Hare Krishna Project. And or if you're watching this on Facebook, and if you haven't done so already, please like or follow the Hare Krishna Project Facebook page. That's the other way you can watch this podcast. And you will also see that the Hare Krishna Project, as well as this podcast, we also do other things like book distribution, school visits, Hare Krishna festivals, all those things that keep me out of trouble. And keep me busy. If you want something done, ask a busy person to do it. Okay. So 172. How did we even get this far? This was the podcast that I was meant to do 10 episodes and get bored and then like do something else. But 172 episodes later. And I'm delighted to welcome our guest. It's Malati. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, nice to see you.
Dandavat
Thank you for
Pranam.
having me here.
No worries at all. It's great to have you with us. Now, a bit later on, we're going to come on to you and your story and your seva. But Malati and I have known each other, or around about known each other for about a year and a half. We've been connected through different ways, and that'll become apparent why as to later on. But we'll start with the first question. It's the easy question that every guest gets, just to warm us up. Please tell us a bit about you and where you are from.
I'm Malati dasi. I'm from Czech Republic, from Prague.
Wow. Nice, succinct answer. Some people will give me like a half an hour answer about everything. Prague. And what is the weather like in Prague?
Right now, rainy, like
Rainy.
British style. Yes.
We're having a heat wave at the moment, which is very rare. The
It was
British,
yesterday. The
the
summer
British,
was yesterday. Now it's gone.
now it's gone. Okay. And how did you discover Krishna consciousness? How did you meet the devotees?
Well, the story is long, but I will make it short. I met devotees when I was 16. It was in a year of 96. And I have joined very quickly, and I have joined the temple, which was not under any organization. And on my way, I met some Gaudiya mats and ISKCON and stuff. And finally, I was very happy to discover the temple in Vienna, led by Swami Maharaj, who was who was hosting this time Srila Bhakti Puri Goswami Maharaj, one of the glorious disciples of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada. And I was actually asked, it was after 7 years I have been searching for a guru and for like place to belong. And I was asked like, oh, Mataji, there is a disciple of Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati coming to Vienna Temple. Do you want to go there? And I was like, oh my God, they are still alive, you know. I didn't know that. So it was like 2002, I think, if I remember well. I went to Vienna Temple, which I've heard a lot about, that it is like a very open temple, that devotees from many different missions, from different Gaudiya mats, including ISKCON, are welcome to come to give Harikatha, which I liked very much, but I never found the temple because no internet at the time. So I came there, and this is how I met my Guru Maharaj, Srila Bhakti Puri Goswami Maharaj. And after 2 years, I got Harinam from him. So this is the positive part of the
Wow.
story.
Wow. I was just looking at my phone, not because I'm being rude. If I ever look at my phone, it's because I need to remind myself of something. And a couple of weeks ago, I interviewed I assume then a godbrother of yours,
Hmm.
um Yeah, Krishna Chandra Prabhu a couple of weeks ago. He's based in the USA. He's also
Mhm,
a disciple of Bhakti Vaibhav Puri Maharaj, and we had a wonderful
mhm,
conversation about a month ago about so many
mhm,
wonderful things with the Sri Krishna Chaitanya mission, and just that kind of link with Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Sarasvati Thakur, that kind of link that goes back so long. And it was a wonderful conversation, and you've just suddenly reminded me of the conversation I had with him a month ago, but it was a wonderful conversation because a couple of years ago, I wrote a book about all the different Gaudiya Vaishnav groups in Britain. And I didn't include, if I'm honest, I think I included the Sri Krishna Chaitanya mission at the end as like an appendix. But because I
mhm,
didn't find any followers in the UK, I didn't really, unfortunately, talk much about Srila Bhakti by Puri Maharaj. But it was a wonderful conversation I had a few weeks ago. So I always love meeting disciples of his. It's so kind of enriching, and
mhm.
so wonderful. Yeah.
I'm happy to
Um,
hear that.
yeah. Okay. I'm looking forward to today's conversation. One of the things I already like about you, I've decided, is you're very good at giving succinct answers, and clear answers, which is wonderful. So Malati, in your own spiritual life, you've experienced what it's like when your guru falls down. And just to be clear, we're not talking about Srila Bhakti by Puri Maharaj. We're talking about somebody else. Just want to clear that up. In your own spiritual life, you've experienced what it's like when your guru falls down. Can you tell us a bit about that and what it felt like? In terms of, what did it do to your spiritual life and that kind of thing?
Hmm. Yeah, like the thing was that although my Guru Maharaj was amazing and also my brothers were very amazing and they still are, like for me that time they were like very strict. Everything was really like paka paka, and I was a little bit like hippie style and a little bit more like free-minded. And by, I have to really say, Krishna's arrangement, I met a wonderful group of devotees and also their guru, whom I will not name out of respect. And I immediately connected with them, with both the guru and the devotees. I especially like also his open-mindedness, and I loved that he engaged himself a lot in bringing all the Vaishnava groups together and have some nice dialogue and cooperation. And he was also like invested in a lot of like environmental stuff and bridge preaching, and plus he was really really nice person, like personally. I have to say, actually, for the first few years when I met him always in India, I thought he's got few dozens of disciples, therefore he's so personal, so invested in like in yourself in his disciples. And it was later on when I found out he's got actually tens of thousands of disciples, which for me still now it's I cannot understand how is it possible. He was so nice and personal with everyone, having such a huge following. So I immediately felt a strong connection there because it was exactly what I needed, what I was looking for. And after a few years of being there, I took second initiation from him. And I have to say, everything was just nice, really. I have only beautiful memories about him, about all the things we have been doing, the times we have been spending. But it was just one thing that slowly I started to perceive that maybe something is wrong in his behavior towards ladies. And firstly, like some things were understandable. He spoke up, and but her story was a little bit weird and not very believable. So it was like, okay, I was thinking, even if this thing happened, still it is like one time slip and it can happen. Like we are humans, all of us did something stupid. We all did something we are ashamed of, and it's okay. So after some time, like less than 1 year, then a shower of stories came. And although it was not directly about like really, I mean, like coitus, like for doing the thing completely, but still it was like totally beyond anything that guru and disciple should be doing, or sannyasi and lady should be doing. And it was not that as of a shock because I have been expecting that. So it was not like out of the blue. But in the same time, of course, it destroys you because everything I do for him. I try for him every day when I wake up. I think of him. I will do this, I will do that. So he's happy with me, like stuff like that. So you are completely destroyed and you start to think like, what exactly, what was all that about? Like, I mean, you have a scale that all the spiritual experiences you had with him were false, just your imagination. Or everything was right somehow by Krishna's mercy, everything was real, because you had a lot of spiritual experiences, right, during all these years. Or it is somewhere here, but you have no way how to know. And it's like just, like in your mind thinking, okay, and maybe everything was false, but then it can mean that all my other spiritual experiences I had in Krishna consciousness are equally false. Just product of my mind, of my wishes, of the manipulations, or I don't know what. So you really start to doubt everything, but in the same time you still have a faith. So it's like a totally confusing feeling, and in the same time you are like thinking, okay, now what I will do, because the other thing about this particular case, sorry for my English, was that when I was expecting this to happen, I always thought about one only solution, that he will just take white clothes, he will either get married or just go somewhere to some bhajan kutir for at least some time to do some kind of like penance or stuff. But it didn't happen, actually. There was very little, some kind of like remorse or rectification. It just wasn't there. And then it clicked back like nothing happened. And I think not only for me, but for many devotees around me, that was actually the heartbreaking part. Because, like later we find out that this problem was going on for at least 10 years with multiple ladies. So it was not like, I don't know, like you have bad months in your life or something and you slip, that it was really like continuous. But still, most of the devotees around me, they were able to say, okay, he also did many stupid things. He always pardoned us. He always supported us. He never left us. So now when it's our turn to forgive and to continue, we should do that, right? It is like quite reasonable thing to feel. But like the way how the things have been dealt with, like in victim blaming and blaming of these devotees who are leaving and stuff, then it was not sitting well with most of us. And naturally you start to think, okay, now what I do? What do I do? Because on one side you have complete gratitude to him, not only for the spiritual guidance and stuff, but like in my case, I have everything I cherish in my life I got because of him. I have my shop because of I have my shop because of him. I even have my kids because of him. Well, of course, not like directly, but without him, I wouldn't have them. I'm living in a temple because of him. So, like, you just cannot discard this person like some old piece of paper and throw it. Ah, now you are a fallen guru. I don't need you anymore. You cannot do that. Plus, of course, there is like strong personal connection because, like, I always liked him and I still do like him as a person. Although, you know, all the things that happen. So you really don't think it's morally understandable just to leave. But in the same time, you just feel like your spiritual life is crumbling. Not like, but it actually is, because like you are losing the faith, the point in doing everything. Like, yeah, I do everything for him, but yeah, he's obviously not the genuine connection that I was thinking he is. So how long I will be actually able to continue with that? So it's a totally heartbreaking feeling, and I really thought that my life is just a long tunnel without any light, because this problem does not have a proper solution. Like you have options, and okay, this is a good one, this is a bad one, this is good one, and you select the good one because there are only bad options in front of you in such a case.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing that. And I just wanted to clarify for the viewers and listeners at home again, this was a guru that Malati was following, that she had taken shelter of before she'd met Bhakti Vaibhav Puri Maharaj back in the
No,
1990s, I assume.
no, after Bhakti Vaibhav
After,
Maharaj.
okay, after,
Yeah, sorry.
after, after, okay. So when we're not talking about Bhakti Vaibhav Puri
No,
Maharaj,
absolutely not.
it's
Yeah.
really important to stress that. Um, Okay, and I can kind of also resonate with some of the things that you were talking about. I've met certainly not on the same level as you, but certainly I've met sannyasis and brahmacharis, particularly with my own background in ISKCON, and you know that in their private life they're behaving in a way that isn't appropriate for someone who's wearing saffron, and then you feel so awkward when you see that several years later they're still wearing saffron, but when you know what they've been kind of getting up to in their kind of private life, and it can be very difficult to speak out and to say things. Okay. Thank you for sharing that, because a lot of viewers and listeners will be devotees that have experienced a guru fall down. What does it feel like when your guru falls down? This is someone who, you've seen to be as good as God, so to speak. Someone who you've held on such a high um pedestal that you'd do anything for them. They're your access to the divine. Lord Jesus said, people come to the Father through me, and that's certainly something to some extent is taught through the parampara system. You have to go through a guru to get to God, to Krishna, to Lord Krishna. So it can be so depressing and painful and sad and um, you know frustrating when someone you have idolized, adored, falls down. However, we want to focus on the positive today, because you're very positive now, all these years later, which is fantastic. And all the conversations that I've had with you, you've always been very much a positive person, which is fantastic. So how can somebody transform such a negative experience into something positive?
Well, I have been really lucky that I had still very strong connection to my original spiritual family with my god brothers and god sisters from Srila Bhakti Vaibhav Swami Maharaj, and especially Srila Bhakti Sadhak Muni Maharaj, who was the Acharya or founder of the temple in Vienna. He has been always very strict. Like, he was telling things without any fear he will hurt someone or not. He just say the things as they are. And he always repeated that we always get a guru which we search for, which we deserve. And he used to say, if you want to have a great guru, we will get a great guru. If we want to get a funny guru, we will get a funny guru. If we want a guru who is very nice, he will get a guru who is very nice. If we want bhakti, we will get a guru who will give us bhakti. Because these things are not automatically like synonymous, right? And I think the most healthy thing one can do, of course, after the first shock and pain and trauma goes away, like, and generally not only in this particular case, that if we get into some situations only because of our own decisions and our own free will, we should always examine what part I have played in that. How did I allow to happen? Why did that happen? Not happen to me? Like, So like to minimize the victim mentality, of course, without taking off any blame from the guilty person. But thanks to this teaching of Muni Maharaj, I was really like examining myself. Okay, what was the motivation that I took shelter there? And the motivation were like a really good sangha. I feel like a family. He's really so nice to me. He's so personal and loving and caring. There are so many beautiful projects I can be part of, I can be proud of. You know, the list was long, and the bhakti was like just one of the items on the list. So I could not really blame anyone, and I really don't think it's healthy to blame like the guru or the ISKCON or that mat or Krishna consciousness or I don't know on philosophy or whatever, because this really works like Krishna gives us what we are searching for, because true gurus are still available. So why did not we recognize them, and why did not we accept them? We cannot blame that on anyone. And I could also see like that one of the closest people I have in my life I admire, like was Srila Muni Maharaj from Vienna or Sripad Singha Maharaj, also from Vienna temple. They passed through experience of having a fallen guru. And the thing they have done was just to take the blame for that it happened to them. Like they knew what they got wrong, and they took a shelter with Srila Bhakti Swami Maharaj. So it was actually even not something wrong that happened in their life. They just turned it into something beautiful. Because then when you pass through such an experience, you can really appreciate much more what is coming after that to you. Like it's not like, oh yeah, I have a pure devotee guru, that's nice, but you can have some kind of experience like comparison to say. So I think it can be actually a really good thing in a long term. Of course, not immediately. It would be unhealthy just to jump to somewhere else like immediately. But yeah, because I think some devotees did not do this processing, and either they became like really sour and blaming, or they jumped to another false guru. Like I will not name again, but we will all agree that he's false guru outside of our Gaudiya family. But yeah, so there is like, okay, so the lesson was not learned. Then in that case, I think it's really like it was needless, this kind of suffering, when nothing good came out of it. But also it's understandable because it's a big deal. It's really big deal to be so brokenhearted, and it's understandable as well.
Mm. Thank you for sharing that, because I've met devotees who have, lost their faith, or they've become disillusioned with Krishna consciousness because their guru has fallen down, or they've had a negative experience with their guru, and then they feel like, the whole of the Krishna consciousness movement is against them, or they feel like they want to give up on Bhakti yoga completely. And actually, Bhakti is a philosophy that can save you, and that you can still ultimately take shelter of. And, certainly if I'm speaking honestly, when I've gone through bad experiences or negative experiences with leaders, or managers, I then take comfort in the association of devotees and with devotees. The kind of family feeling, that the devotees are there to support one another and encourage one another. Srila Prabhupada talked about the importance of associating with devotees, hanging out with like-minded people. So um, I'm very pleased that you've reminded us, or told us of how we can transform something negative into something positive.
I would just, if I can, add one more thing that I forgot to mention, that I really think generally it's important to keep some kind of gratitude towards this guru, even when he fall down, because no matter what his sin would be, still like the treasure of Krishna consciousness he was giving us for some time, it's just much greater and much more important. And I'm really sad to see that some of his disciples, whom he really saved from the streets, like from drugs, from prostitution, from gangs, and I don't know what, started to really like speak horribly about him, calling him names, really like making campaigns against him. This, I think, it's harmful, especially to them, because I think like Krishna sees that, and like, for example, let us say I will give you piece of cake, but this piece of cake have, I don't know, like hair in it. And if you say, oh, Malati, I'm sorry, I'm not gonna eat this cake because there is some little problem with the hair inside, then I would say, oh my God, I'm sorry, here is a new cake, please take it. But if you take the cake and just smash it on the floor and jump on it and say, wow, what a disgusting thing you gave to me, you're giving to me such a horrible thing, all right, then most likely you will not get another cake from me. And I think like Krishna's maybe working in a similar way. Like he gave us something, a guru who was not perfect, and we started, you gave to me such a guru. Then there is not much chance of actually getting the right one, because like if we cannot appreciate the good things that he gave us, although he was not up to the standard we were thinking he is, then I really don't think we are opening the option to get something better in the future. And I've seen that
Yeah.
too many times, like this really hateful, negative attitude. And I really don't think that this is the attitude that we should have, no matter what happens.
You and I agree on a lot of things. I agree with what you're saying again. I mean, at the moment, so just so our viewers are aware, we're recording this on the 16th of June, 2025. I very rarely give the date out. Some people think it's live. It's never been live. We've never done a live episode. Maybe we'll do one. Um, and at the moment, there's a lot of conversation on social media. There has been over the last couple of days about a sannyasi in ISKCON who has fallen. And this particular sannyasi has admitted he's fallen, and I think he's going to stop wearing saffron. And of course, everyone's jumping on that. Oh, this is terrible. This is awful. He's fallen down. And actually, my first thought was, thank you for being honest and saying you've fallen down. And also, what's that expression that the Christians use? For there, but by the grace of God go I. We're all sinners. We all do things wrong. And Maya is really, really strong. Maya is really, really strong. And just when you think that your bhakti's going great, you're doing your rounds every day, you're hanging out with other devotees, you're trying to live in a very devotional way, and you're feeling super spiritual, something then happens. The material world throws something at you, which is like really powerful and really strong, and you just, my goodness, I don't feel like chanting today. I don't feel like offering my food today. I don't feel like hanging out with my Hare Krishna friends today. I just, because that's the material world. It's just really distracting. And so I agree with you. Let's not get involved too much in these blaming people, blaming and being horrible and being mean. And you know, I yeah, I appreciate uh your approach. I think it's a very positive one. Um, so thank you for sharing that. And that leads us nicely actually onto the next question, um, which is, can you please tell us a bit about meeting your present guru, Bhaktinandan Swami? Um, I'm going to love this part of the conversation. What is it about him, that attracted you to take shelter of him?
Yeah, well, actually, I also met him originally thanks to my ex-guru, because my ex-guru inspired me to open the temple in Prague and continue to invite different sadhus from different missions to our place. And he simply happened to be one of the sadhus who were coming. And when I started to do this seva, I made some kind of decision that I will really try to see and feel and treat all of these sadhus coming equally. like no, not like, oh, this is my favorite sadhu. I don't like that one so much. No, like totally neutral, like positively neutral. I mean, and really like to let the devotees here to decide who is inspiring for them, and really keep it in very neutral level. But with him, it was not possible. He was like standing out so much. And the first thing I remember, still, it was the time when I was initiated with my ex-guru, and I was really never like flickering, thinking maybe I should take some other guru. No, never. I was really like very, this is my guru, and that's it. But still, like when I saw Sri Swami Maharaj for the first time sitting here in the next room in the temple, so I remember, although I don't remember much of the class, but I had a feeling like when he spoke, the vibe or feeling, I don't know how to call it, was the same like when I was reading books of Srila Maharaj. It was like exactly like I felt exactly the same thing. And even later, I find out, and I don't know how to express it, but I don't know if you also have these thoughts or feelings, but sometimes I think, how would it feel to actually meet Srila Prabhupada? Or how would it feel to meet Rupa Goswami? How would it feel to meet Bhaktivinoda Thakur? How their presence would actually feel? And I really felt sad that I will never be able to experience this in this world. But when I'm in the presence of Srila Bhaktinanand Swami Maharaj, I do not have this feeling about Srila Sridhar Maharaj. I don't feel I have missed something because he's representing him so well that I really feel physically, like physically or tangibly feel presence of Srila Sridhar Maharaj through him. And this is something really special and really very rare. So yeah, he became really special for me. And when the issue with my ex-guru came and I was considering the option like to stay with him, not to stay with him, what to do, then actually as a option for a new guru, I never had like multiple choices. It was like always Bhaktinanand Swami Maharaj or no one. It was not like, okay, yeah, maybe that one, maybe that one. I also like this one. No, it was like, yeah, if it is someone, that's gonna be him. And yeah, then it actually manifested that because some other devotees here from Czech, they wanted to know him closer, and one of them, my good friend, he wanted to take a shelter at his feet. So we went to Navadvip, to Chaitanya Sarasvatma. And since we came there, like my everything completely changed. Like my mindset, heart set, everything became like totally different. And I knew it was due to his presence, his influence that he's got on me. And when we left from there after I think 10 days or 2 weeks maybe, then I really felt I'm completely changed person, and all this dark tunnel of no hope and no light totally disappeared. And I really felt like true genuine connection with him. And like this problem I had, what to do with my ex-guru or what not to do, it's literally like disappeared through that in a very natural way. And it was one of the most beautiful experiences I ever had. And I still cannot explain what actually happened or how did it happen, but somehow the things clicked in themselves. And next year when I came again in 2020, I had business visa, so I could come to India even during pandemics. So yeah, I took like officially second initiation from him. And before that, I asked for permission my ex-guru to release me from the vows I gave to him, which he did.
Wow. Wow. And how willing was, just out of interest, how willing was he to do that?
Actually, he looked surprised when I asked him. I don't know why. um, yeah, he was actually At least he looked willing. I don't know really if he knew by the time the extent of how like I'm a disciple. But yeah, I took the chance. I was not bothering him too much.
Mm, mm. So do you actually have a temple there in your home in Prague? You've
Yeah.
mentioned temple a few times. Tell us a bit about it.
Do you want to see it?
Yeah, if possible, that'd be fantastic.
Okay, so let me show you. It's right next room. It's not a long wall. Okay, so it was my room.
Wow.
This is kitchen, and here's the temple. I don't know if you can see something.
Wow.
And
Jai.
the Radha Gopinath deities.
Wow. Beautiful.
And this is Guru Maharaj here.
Wow.
Dasi. Yeah, so that's the temple.
Wow.
It's a small and humble place, but it still fits all the devotees, so we do not complain.
So you have regular programs, events in the temple every week?
No, unfortunately, we do not have anybody to really dedicatedly do that every week. But we have events like more or less 2 times a month when some sadhu comes, or for festivals like Janmashtamis and stuff. But we got quite a lot of visits of sadhus, like at least 1 or 2 per month. So the
Wow.
programs are going on.
And does your temple have a name at all?
Yeah, Radha Gopinath Mandir.
Wow. This is wonderful. I didn't know that you were running a temple. I mean, I know that you lived in Prague because you t told me, but I didn't know that you had a temple in your home in that way. Um, it's wonderful. It's beautiful.
Yeah, by Krishna's mercy and mercy of one devotee who's making all the reconstructions and paintings and wallpaper installing. Yeah,
Yeah.
it ends
Yeah.
up
And is,
pretty
I mean,
nice.
just out of interest, is your temple linked with any particular mat
Yeah.
or
It's officially connected with Vienna Temple, so it's Sri Krishna Chaitanya Mission officially.
wow, it's amazing. I feel that I need to visit now. I do feel I need to.
Absolutely. I told you, come to Prague for next week.
Yes, Malati wants me to visit next week. We just
Yeah,
have to see
yeah,
what happens. But
yeah.
if not next week, definitely in the future. I've never been to Prague before, so we'll have to see what Krishna arranges. And just to say, if I can just kind of say things about Bhakti Nandan Maharaj, I've known of him for a long time. Um, I don't know how long, maybe 6, 7, 8 years. And I had the opportunity of first meeting him 2 years ago when he was carrying out a Europe tour. So I think he carries out a European tour at least every year when there isn't a global lockdown. So he carried out a tour of Europe in 2023, and he came to the UK, and I went to beautiful Slough, just outside of London. British people will get the joke when I say beautiful Slough. And Maharaj was there, and it was a wonderful program. I remember it. It was almost 2 years ago. I remember it like it was yesterday. And then I met Maharaj physically in the flesh in April 2024. So he was at the Radha Kripa mission in France, which is actually one of my favorite temples, which I love to go to as well. And actually, the Radha Kripa mission is part of the League of Devotees, which is an alliance. Sounds a bit political, doesn't it? An alliance I'm a part of. And so I know that Bhaktinanand Swami has a strong link with that temple. So I met Maharaj there. But my most favorite memory of Maharaj is from January 2024, when I had the opportunity to interview him on this podcast, the Hare Krishna Project podcast. And I think it was the first podcast of 2024. And I remember emailing Maharaj and very, asking, would you like to be a guest on the Hare Krishna Project podcast? And he said yes, based on two conditions. So the first condition is that we only talk about positive things. because some people think that I only want to talk about negative things, which I don't, based on previous podcasts that have been produced. So can we only talk about positive things? And secondly, Maharaj wanted me to give him time to answer the questions. And of course, I gave him all the time that he wanted, and I only had 4 questions on the piece of paper for that recording, and the podcast lasted 3 hours. It was the longest ever podcast I've produced, and it was wonderful because Maharaj, I just sat back and relaxed, and Maharaj just gave these wonderful answers about Bhakti yoga, devotional service, and it was just a wonderful recording. And I remember it just like it was yesterday, and I'm still very grateful to him for giving up his time and being willing and really having that desire to serve others. You know, even though he's a sannyasi, and some of us or some devotees will have an image of sannyasis that are there to give you instructions and tell you what to do. And yes, that is a role of leaders, but also uh, Bhaktinandan Swami is there to serve and to guide and to help and to kind of metaphorically push us and encourage us. Come on, you can do this and you can do that. So that's one of my favorite thoughts about Bhaktinandan Swami. Um, with our next question, you've kind of answered it already a little bit, but I'm keen to really kind of plug into this. What are the current savers and projects within the Hare Krishna community that you're involved with?
Well, my feeling is that mostly it's bathroom cleaning, but when the bathrooms are relatively clean, then I really like to translate the Harikathas of Srila Bhaktinandan Swami Maharaj or to put them into the books. I mean, translating to my language, which is Czech language, and also to produce the books in that language. And I get your permission to show them because
Yes,
now we have
please.
both in English as well. The second one just came out. And I think they are super beautiful because he's got the capacity of speaking about the topics in a very beautiful and harmonious ways. Because I have always admired his capacity of being like very strict and adherent to the Siddhanta and rules and etiquette and everything. But then at the same time, he's totally open-minded and like how to say flexible and human-like, which is a combination so rare that I have never seen it anywhere into such an extent. And I think this is one of the reasons why he's working so well with Western devotees, because generally when you have a like a Indian sadhu or Indian guru, they sometimes are simply demanding things that are not so possible or easy for us with the Western mentality, Western body and stuff. And when you have a Western guru, many times they are a little bit like not so well versed in the tradition. But my Gurudeva, he was raised by Srila Sridhar Maharaj since he was 11 years old. So like you can really see and also he comes from the family of his disciples, so you can really see like it's his nature, like he grew up in that. And in the same time he knows perfectly how to adapt it to particular person, their needs, their situations, that nothing is fanatical, everything is like adjustable into some kind of yeah, I think you understand what I want to say.
Mm. Yeah, I remember when I asked Bhaktinandan Maharaj, I think the question was, what is Bhakti? Or could you summarize Bhakti or Bhakti
Oh,
yoga? He really did summarize Bhakti yoga, but in a very, I think, yeah, it Maharaj took a while to do it, but it was very clear, and he included everything that needed to be included in the time that we had to really give a very clear answer as to what is Bhakti yoga, and how Bhakti yoga can change our lives or can make our lives so much better. So you translate books for Bhaktinanda Maharaj.
Yeah.
Um, I believe you also look after his website.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's a fantastic website, by the way. It's very
Oh, thank you.
professional
It
looking.
was made by one devotee. I cannot name him because he said he asked me not to name him anywhere because then everybody would bother him to have something like that. But he's like a media professional and he's also very much inspired by Srila Bhaktivinoda Swami Maharaj. So he felt the inspiration of creating the design and everything, and I'm filling it with the content.
Well, if he's listening, or if you manage to tell him, it really is a good website. I'm not just saying that. I remember looking at it a year and a half ago, thinking, wow, this is amazing. Is this a
Mhm.
sannyasi's website? This is pretty good. Uh, yeah, it's a very good website, very easy to navigate around and use and read. And personally, I'm a minimalist, so the less the better. And so I remember it being very clear and easy to read.
I will tell him he's gonna be very happy.
Yes, yes. And also, I feel like I'm telling you what you do, but I believe you also organize tours. I think you also organize tours for Maharaj.
Yeah,
These
yeah.
Europe tours, I see the itinerary every year, and they're so full. I think, wow, someone's put a lot of thought into organizing these tours.
Yeah, I'm doing it not only for him, but for some years I do it also for some other sadhus, mostly from Sri Chaitanya Mission. So like I have the contacts, I know the places, I know the people, and sometimes it's quite difficult, especially every year we have one period of sadhu traffic jam, when all the sadhus come one time, and then it's really difficult to navigate for them not to collide and to give also some resting period to devotees in different places. So especially this year was very difficult to be put together, and it was not very ideal. I know that some he stayed in some places longer than it would be good, but it was no other way how to how to put it. But yeah.
Well, everything is Krishna's arrangement. Even if we don't see it or feel it at the time, maybe Krishna wanted Maharaj to stay in certain places for longer to spend more time with devotees. Just a personal um pitch or comment. I've noticed that the UK hasn't been on the list for the last 2 years. I'm not sure why. Maybe there's some reason for that. You don't have to
Yeah,
say it, but
yeah,
but
I
I
I
don't know.
can tell you why it was because his travel agent, who always in last years applied for his visa, he put it to some of his worker the job to do, and instead of May, he put September. It's like almost the same, right? And he found out when it was already sent the application, but still this travel agent was saying like, no, 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 it's okay, you just write them the letter and they will correct it, it's not a problem. So he did all that and they made him visa for June, so like he
Yeah.
cannot come because of this Indian travel agent mistake, unfortunately. But he intended to come. He had it in the plan. He was supposed to spend. He was supposed to come on 1st of May, and he was supposed to leave on 10th of May. I think it was
Mm.
already. We had it like the plane tickets and everything. It was done, but the visa came up with
Wow.
dates, and it was no time to reapply.
Wow. Yes.
Yeah.
Well, hopefully by Krishna's arrangement next time. I don't think Maharaj has been to the UK since 2023. I don't think. And I remember certainly last year, because Maharaj didn't visit the UK last year, one group of British or UK based devotees went to Italy and one group went to France.
Yeah,
So they
yeah.
still were able to meet him. It just wasn't in the UK.
Same this year. Yeah, they had to come to continue
Yes.
Europe
Yeah. Yeah.
darshan. Yeah.
Yeah. Fantastic. And of course, you organize wonderful programs in the temple there in your home, um, which I mean, it sounds like you do so much, um, you know, and it's amazing. And I love to meet devotees like you who quietly behind the scenes just get on with it. You have this fantastic service attitude, and you're just getting on with it constantly. And I think that's a great testament to you and your your devotion. You know, it's it's wonderful.
Well, thank you for appreciation, but it's like, especially regarding the working with Harikata Social Bhaktivinoda Swami Maharaj, I don't really feel it like to be some kind of service or work. It's just there is some kind of inside need to do that, and then you see that it's really helping a lot of devotees. You get a lot of appreciation back, like from all the world, like from Australia, from US, from India, Malaysia, all the Europe, that the devotees are reading it and writing like, oh my God, it's so beautiful, because he really explains many topics in a very fresh and understandable way. And also, like, I myself find many things that have been unresolved in my head, like philosophy questions, just answer that like that.
Mm.
So it got appreciated by many devotees, which is like also the driving factor in continuing the service.
I know this is not one of the questions I sent you in advance, but what is how do I ask this in terms of Bhaktinandan Swami's following outside of India? I mean, does he have a lot of disciples or not so much? Or it seems to be growing. I'm discovering new disciples of his, but is it? I mean, are there a lot?
Well, depends how you define a lot. Like, definitely
Yes.
not a lot in comparison to some ISKCON local GPC, but I think if we look at the sannyasis that are coming to the west from India, like the acharyas or other initiating groups, I think it's pretty good number, and like more and more feels connected with him and inspired by him. Even like he's got not only Diksha but very many Shiksha disciples.
I was just thinking that as I was asking the question, it depends how we define disciple, and it
Yeah.
depends how we're looking at it via Diksha or Shiksha, So sometimes those questions aren't always easy to answer, but I've certainly noticed that Bhaktinanand Swami has a growing following,
Yeah,
um,
definitely.
and he has quite a lot of god brothers and god sisters here in the UK. And I know we've mentioned it already, but just to clarify for the viewers and listeners at home, Bhaktiyananda Swami is a disciple of Srila Bhakti Rakshita Devga Swami Maharaj, who's one of those really highly elevated disciples of Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur. And many of us will know that A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada and Srila Maharaj had a very close relationship. And I often love reading about their discourses and the encounters between them both. And yeah, so there's a wonderful connection there. Um, so yes, Bhaktiananda Maharaj is a disciple of Srila Bhakti Rakshakshita Dev Goswami Maharaj. And of course, there's a huge following here in the UK still for Srila Bhakti Srila Sridhar Maharaj. And I know quite a lot of Bhaktinanand Swami's godbrothers and godsisters very well, and they're very good friends of mine. In fact, some of them have been on this podcast. Just thinking about it, we've had some wonderful conversations over the years.
Mhm.
Okay, Malati,
We
we're
have
kind of
only one in Czech. Only one god brother of his in Czech, and he's in the process of leaving the body. And hopefully next week we will able to visit him together with Bhaktivinoda Swami Maharaj and some other devotees too. Because last time they saw each other with Sridhar Maharaj still present. So I'm really looking forward to this meeting. I hope it will be possible because his health condition of this god brother is not very good, but I hope it will happen.
yeah, I hope so too. Thank
Mhm.
you. So just kind of broadening the conversation a bit, I always like to ask every guest, without getting too political, but what are your thoughts on the current condition? It sounds like a medical thing, doesn't it? What are your thoughts on the current condition of the present day Hare Krishna movement?
Hmm. Well, I think it really depends on a particular social bubble
Mm,
that you're talking about. Like
mm,
it can be extremely good and it can be extremely bad.
mm.
I don't think there is some kind of like middle ground that we can generalize, because I have seen societies in a horrible condition and societies which are really like doing great and they're inspiring and amazing in long term. So I don't think it can be answered in some kind of general way.
You're a great person to interview. You know, you some devotees give a very long answer to that. You know,
Um,
oh, what are your thoughts on the Hare Krishna movement? And it all just spills out. But I loved your very diplomatic response,
yeah, I'm not too intelligent for that.
which actually, if I was to, if I was to, I used to do this kind of, I wouldn't say it was a game, but I used to test myself years ago that I could guess who someone's guru was based on that particular devotee and their mood and their behavior and I would that is I can see now that you're a disciple of Bhaktinanand Swami because that's the
Oh,
type of answer that he would give, I think. It doesn't get involved in politics. A nice diplomatic response to it really depends on your friendship groups, on your own mood. So thank you for that answer. Um, I actually really like your positive approach.
well, I was thrown into really positive environments, so and I have very positive guru.
Yeah,
So yeah, I'm influenced, I think.
yeah. Thank you, thank you. And okay, so to kind of just finish off the conversation, how can we attract more people to the path of bhakti? You and I are in this life, we're Western people. We appeared in the continent of Europe, and we took to this philosophy because we love it, and it's life-changing. But how can we, in your opinion, how can we attract more Western people to the path of bhakti?
Oh, I would like to know that. I think it's becoming more and more difficult because I think we all joined the Hare Krishna movement because we felt some deep lacking inside, which could not be filled by any outside sources like sense enjoyment or some like superficial philosophies and stuff. But I think really people today are so overloaded with some kind of instant enjoyment, like in a form of, I don't know, like watching the short videos or like even the computer games. Everything is just made for instant, like, yeah, you have it right now, you have it right now. So it's really difficult to actually approach people with something which is really a long-term process, and you will not see any results for a long, 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 long time. So I think like mostly we should be really, mm, it sounds really badly when I say nice people, but it's part of it, like being a normal, being well established. And I think also like by just being really happy in what we are, because like people around are going crazy there, they have all so many troubles and generally you don't see them that happy. So when we're happy, I think at least the people who have some capacity of thinking about things, they say how this person is all the time so nice and happy, like now there is a war or there is a COVID or there is immigrants or whatever problem. So like then these people that are just cool, they are nice. Why is that? And they start to dig a little bit more in that. But otherwise, I think there are so many conflicts if which kind of preaching is the best. Like I think there is a lot of conflict. Okay, should we be using our Vaishnava clothes and cooking Indian food or not, or completely cut it out? And I think actually that just this division itself is creating a lot of opportunities for people who can be attracted to both sides. I totally understand the side who will be attracted not to something Indian and exotic, but to just something sounding reasonable and healthy. But like for me, honestly, like my first impression of devotees or bhakti was that I saw a sari. And when I was a little girl, I always wanted to have the most beautiful dress in the world. It was like my dream when I was a small girl. And when I saw the sari, I was thinking, oh my God, it's something so beautiful. I never saw personally something so beautiful like that. And I like all of that, like the food and the colors and the aesthetics and everything. So like I think we should not argue what is the way, okay, with sari or without sari, but like both things are attractive to people, to different people, and we should open that up. And maybe we can find another way just to when we are speaking about clothing, maybe just get rid of the contemporary Hindu fashion and let's go back to Vedic times, to really let the men wear long hair and beard and colorful, beautiful clothes, with gold borders and stuff, because it looks beautiful. It's like maybe it's time for that. Like sometimes I'm thinking that like the white dhotis and shaved head, which is not exactly Vedic, but it's nice preaching strategy for the hippie time when everybody's colorful and dirty and stuff. So these white shaved men are something like, oh my God, that's something special. It's something good. But now we have a time when everybody is gray and dark blue and black and so when you put like colors and ornaments and everything, then it's something that will create some kind of attraction for some kind of people. So I think like we should open all the possibilities and all the ways, just if they are not like, of course, something like meat eating and stuff. So I don't know. We can experiment really, I think.
Mm,
I
mm.
don't know if it made sense or not, but
It made perfect sense, and I think you gave a very nice, broad, open-ended answer, and it reminded me of what A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada taught, and other gurus and other acharyas taught, is that actually we should teach Krishna consciousness according to time, place, and circumstance, according to who we're preaching to, um, and what level they're on, and what they understand, and what their dress code is, and their own background, and their own heritage, and their own culture.
Mhm.
And I often use the example of Christianity. So one of the reasons that Christianity has been so successful over 2,000 years is because it's learnt to mold and adapt according to
Mhm.
time, place, and circumstance. So if you go to, I don't know, a big Christian church in London, it might be very happy clappy and evangelical, and lots of people wearing modern clothes, jeans and hoodies and things. But you might go to Syria and find some Christians, and it's very different. Maybe in a Syrian Orthodox church where they're burning incense and there's icons and there's pictures of saints, and people are wearing long cassocks, which is, like not a dress, but priests wear cassocks. So they look very different, and they look like very different religions, but actually it's the same teachings, the teaching that Jesus is the Son of God and Jesus is here to save. Uh, they're teaching exactly the same thing, but they're just
Mhm.
delivering it in a different way.
Mhm.
And that's why Christianity has been so successful, in my opinion. And I think in the Gaudiya Vaishnav community, we all need to get better at accepting that others might do it differently, and that's okay. So you can be a traditionalist and do it a traditional way. That's fantastic. But you can have the modernizers over there, and they can also do it their way if they want to.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Like you can like go with the flow of the time and place or go against because both will bring some people. Like for me, for example, I really was very unsatisfied with the society, what it was offering me. Like there was no point in anything everybody else was doing. And when I saw the devotees and I saw them that they really got changed. Even externally, they are wearing some kind of different clothes, eating different food, living a different way of life. For me, it was, yeah, this is what I'm looking for. I don't want anything that the normal society is offering me, because I just deeply dislike that. So it was like, for me, yes, the change for them was so huge. They started to wear different clothes, and it was one of the most attractive things for me. But I totally understand that some will come and say, "Oh my God, like, what's that?" You know.
Mm, mm. And you know what? I think probably maybe 80% of people will join the Hare Krishna movement because they are disillusioned, maybe more are disillusioned with the material world, or they've had negative experiences in the material world, and they're looking for something different. They're looking for a form of escapism. And
Mhm.
from the material world, Krishna consciousness provides that.
Yeah.
Um,
Oh.
I want to say, make clearly from the material world, Krishna consciousness provides that. And so you're like so many other devotees that were so disillusioned with society, that the movement just attracted you. Um, I was just thinking to something you said maybe about 45 minutes ago, and you were talking about you said something about you will get the guru that you pray for, that you desire, that you want. And I was kind of chuckling internally to that. Um, and linked with what we're talking about now is that I desired a guru that um, had knowledge of news and current affairs, believe it or not. So I did end up with a guru who knows a lot about news and current affairs. And I was just laughing at that. And based on the context of what you're saying now, in terms of different ways to, attract people to Krishna consciousness, um, Srila Prabhupada said that he was particularly talking about ISKCON, but I think it can be applied to the whole movement. That the movement needs to be a house for the whole world. And if we're serious about that, the Hare Krishna movement being a house for the whole world, we have to accept that everyone in the world is different. Some are liberal, some are conservative, some are left wing, some are right wing. They have different, some are rich, some are poor materially, some are different sexualities, some are uh, old fashioned, and some are very progressive and modern. And that's all great. That's all great because we're all different, and that's the beauty of it. Um, Okay, I'm just thinking about all your savers and your services. The books that you've translated, is there anywhere that devotees can buy them on the internet?
They are not on the internet per se, but they are more or less distributed all around the world. And if you go to bhaktinandanswami.com, then there are, like, you can either download them directly from PDF, or there are contacts for devotees who can arrange a book for you, and they can be sent literally anywhere around the world.
I've
And I
made a
really
note.
recommend reading them.
I will make sure that with this podcast, there's a link to Bhakti Swami's website. So number one, they can get hold of a book. And number two, they can see how great it is. How much of a great website it is. Um, okay, I'm conscious that we've been recording this for well over an hour. You and I have been talking for a lot longer, uh, uh, but we've been recording this for over an hour. Um, so I think what I'm going to do, Malati, is say goodbye to the viewers at home, and stay on the line. It's like a chat show, isn't it? Stay on the line, and we can talk after. Um, but it's been great to have Malati Devi Dasi as our 172nd guest. I almost like feel painful. It's like painful. 172nd guest on the Hare Krishna Project podcast. It's been great to hear her story. And we've now put Prague on the map with this podcast. Uh,
Thank you.
we've shown all the viewers and listeners that there's a beautiful temple in Prague, that devotees, whoever they are or wherever they're from, they can visit. It's like this is like a tourist show, like tour of the world, like sightseeing. So thank you for showing us your temple, and thank you for all the savor that you do. I think it's wonderful.
Thank
And
you
you're a
for your
great
appreciation
example
and
to
your seva as well.
Jai. Thank you. Um, okay, I'm going to say goodbye to the viewers and listeners at home. So Malati, stay in the Zoom room, and we'll have a brief conversation after. So a huge thank you to Malati for being our guest on this week's podcast. It's been great to hear her story, and I can feel through the internet waves her positivity. She's so positive about Krishna consciousness. It's kind of infectious, which is great. And I love that positive approach. So thank you for that. Do not forget, if you're watching this on YouTube, if you haven't already, please hit the subscribe button so you can be kept updated about future podcasts and video productions from the Hare Krishna project. And if you're watching this on Facebook and you haven't already, please do like or follow the Hare Krishna project Facebook page. Those are the two ways that you can watch this podcast. And also, do not forget, we love to receive positive feedback. Believe it or not, both Malati and I both live in democracies, which means you're allowed to have your own opinion. Um, believe it or not. So please do send in your constructive feedback. I always love to hear from the viewers and listeners about how we're doing here at the Hare Krishna Project. And if you also want to be a guest in the future, please do get in touch. We've been running this podcast for 4 years, and we're carrying on, well, uh, until whenever really, until people don't want to share their story anymore. So if you want to share your story, get in touch. Okay. So until next week, I'll see you all soon. Thank you. Hare Krishna.